up, YouTube? PJ here, this Dog Pound 24/7. Thanks for tuning into the channel. If you're new to the channel, please go ahead and take that time, hit that subscribe, hit that like, and hit that notification bell for all the latest content being dropped. Good afternoon to you all. You guys are on a little ride along with me today. I have a lot of errands, but I want to get you out, push you out a video today. So you guys just bear with me. Right now I'm in the middle of cashing my check, but I got a little story for you, okay? It's a situation that took place, you know, semi in the middle of my prison term back July 4th, 2009. I was in a minimum security prison at the time, and the reason why I was in that, you know, I started off in a medium A, and what happened was I was accepted to a work release program, and you know, your classification drops. When your classification drops, you know, get sent to a minimum while you're waiting to go to this program, which is a 6-month program of KSAT. Then you go to work release. I still had a ways to go before I was, you know, eligible to take the 6-month program or start it. So I was currently in Lion Mountain. Lion Mountain was an old school building, okay, and they turned it into a minimum. All right, hold on. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. And turned it into a minimum security prison. And let me tell you, you would think, you know, that the corrections officers in this minimum would have been laid back, but they are far from laid back. They're actually more of assholes in this prison. And I was there roughly 8 months, okay? And it was July 4th of 2009, and I was sleeping, okay? I was taking a morning nap, and I had an inmate come kick my bed, you know, saying, "Yo, PJ, the corrections officer, CO wants you in the gym. He's heated right now. I guess you're supposed to be, you know, working there right now." And at that time, I was not supposed to be working in the gym no more, okay? That was my job in the prison. I was a rec porter, which I would hand out equipment, you know, weight belts, stuff like that. And the rec civilian lady that took care of the scheduling and was, you know, the head of all that stuff, she took me off the schedule, or at least she was supposed to, because my program changed. I was on idle pay because I was waiting, you know, I was accepted to the program. So, you know, it could be anywhere from a week to 6 months before they shipped me out to go start that program. Well, I knew I had a ways away, so I was just gonna fall back, collect idle pay. I didn't need the money, state money, you know. You know, my family was taking care of me and stuff, and my fiance that I'm with now. And so I just fall back. I didn't, you know, and did me. I did a lot. I was drawing a lot, you know, stuff like that. So I didn't really want to work no more. It was up to me if I wanted to. So I went to the program committee, and they changed, you know, put me on idle pay, and the rec civilian lady did not take me off the schedule, all right, in the gym on the desk. And she told me, "Don't worry about finishing your week out. You're good. I'll take care of it." So I get up, I go to the gym, and the CO was fucking bent, all right? When I tell you he was bent, that dude was redder than shit, man. His face was red. He was, dude, like pretty much spitting his words out. Like, you could tell how he was. And I was trying to explain to him. I was trying to kindly, without being disrespectful, you know, explain to him the situation of why I wasn't there, okay? And I'm the type of person that's just not going to show up to my job, any job, in prison or out of prison. I'm just not that type of guy. So I'm trying to break this down to him. He ain't trying to hear it. He just thinks I'm trying to talk back to him, and that wasn't the case at all. And that pissed him off even more. So he told me, "Go to your post, hand that shit out." And then he must have seen that it must have been written all over my face that I was pretty pissed off. You know, this dude was mad, you know, disrespecting me, mad, you know, crazy. So he said, "Get over here again." And I went over there. He said, "You've got an attitude problem," or, you know, it's just, I'm not going to get in it. It just went back and forth a little bit. I was trying to explain to him still, and he wasn't having it. So he gets on the phone. "I got one coming down." Slams down the phone. I'm like, "Oh, fuck. I already knew what time it was." All right. When they get on that phone and say, "I got one coming down," that means your ass is getting sent out of the prison. All right. So he took me outside the gym, and it's like a little foyer room outside the gym, and then it goes to the hallway. And he put me on the wall inside the little foyer room, and patted me down, cuffed me, and we walked out the door, and he told me to hang a right. And when you hang a right, at the end of the hallway, there's a flight of stairs, a couple flight of stairs. You go down about 5 stairs or so, and then you turn the corner, and then it's you hit the about 10 or 15 stairs, okay? The inmates cannot use the right side stairs at all. It's corrections officers travel, up and down, upstairs, downstairs. That's their stairs to use. So, as soon as you go, I went to them stairs. I already knew what time it was. I knew hands were going to be put on me. And sure as hell, as soon as I got down that smaller flight of stairs, I turned the corner to hit the, those about 15 steps. He grabbed me by the back of my neck and threw me down the stairs. And mind you, I'm cuffed behind my back. My hands are cuffed. So imagine, getting thrown down a flight of stairs, being cuffed behind your back, and you can't protect yourself. So he must not hit a step on the way down after me, okay? He gets down there, he starts beating the brakes off me, right? I'm just trying to protect my face, and it's not going too well. And this shit was crazy, and let me tell you, it was nuts, all right? And it got to the point where I feared that my life was, in danger. Like, at this point, when you just feel like it's not going to stop. So what I did was I tried to, I stuck my leg. I was able to get my legs. I was trying to turn over and push him off of me. At this point, I don't give a shit. I'm trying, you're in, survival mode. So I got my leg in between his, his legs were kind of spread apart, and he was leaning forward to beat the brakes off me. So I was going to use his weight to my advantage. So I flung him into the wall. He busted his face off the wall, and he started leaking right away. Like, I knew he busted his shit, but that really didn't slow him down. He looked dazed for probably about 5 seconds, and then the door swung open. They pulled me in, and they started beating the shit out of me again. So I was trying to get on my back, and I was, trying to take out kneecaps, all right? I didn't know what, I was just trying to do the best I can at what I can do. I was like straight survival mode, like I said. So, I got my licks in. I did. Come to find out later on that a corrections officer said he had a messed up tendon in his leg, which I think it was just sprained. He sprained his knee, and the one dude cracked his tooth off the wall. So later on, that kind of felt good that I got that in, because I caused some sort of pain to these douchebags. So even the sergeant, when they dragged me in there was a sergeant and 4 other COs. They were just putting the brakes to me. It went on for probably about a good minute and a half. And then after it stopped, they shoved me into this little room. All right, and I sat in there, I'm not even exaggerating, for probably about a good 4 hours. They came in, took pictures of me. I had to strip down. They took pictures of me, my face, everything. So, probably shortly after that, they came in and served me with 3 tickets. They gave me 3 tickets. A tier 3 ticket, and a tier 2 and a tier 1. All right, and they gave me for refusing a direct order, assault on staff, and an interference. All right, and I fucking lost my mind when I got done reading the tickets. All right, especially the assault on staff. The corrections officer wrote me a bullshit ticket stating that I came to my job, came to work, and he did a routine pat down, and I came off the wall and I pushed him. All right. So, first of all, I'm not good. All right, I've been accepted to KSAT. I'm going home, all right, in the next 15 months, all right? I had no contraband on me whatsoever, nothing. So what? And I didn't even get a contraband ticket, so he can't say that I had contraband or something, all right? So why am I going to come off the wall and just randomly push a CO? Does that make any sense? Absolutely not. So I knew I had this shit beat, eventually, but I'm gonna have to, go through the trials of this shit. So I sat there for a couple more hours. They ended up packing all my shit, and they loaded me up on a state van, and I knew I was getting shipped off to upstate box. All right, upstate is a supermax, and it's nothing but solitary confinement, and it's double bunked usually, and When I got there, or when we were on the way there, the corrections officer that was transporting me, the two that were transporting me, they were my bosses when I worked outside crew. And the one was a really good corrections officer, okay? I'm not one to really advocate for these motherfuckers, but he was actually the type of corrections officer that came in, did his 8 hours, went home. He'd actually look out for a lot of the inmates in this prison. You know, he'd bring in street food and hook us up, you know, on the outside work crew, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So he was a really actually decent dude. And he told me, he's like, yo, PJ, when you get to this spot, when you get there, don't say nothing and just do the best you can to protect yourself, because they're going to come at you. All right. And I said, what do you mean they're going to come at me? He's like, well, they just put it this way. They made a phone call, you know, over here, you know, saying you put hands on the officers over here and all that other good shit. So I'm like, fuck, you know, I'm like, this is crazy, you know, for absolutely nothing. I did not do anything to deserve anything of this. This is all stemming from a rec civilian that did not change the schedule, okay? So I ended up getting there when, you know, when we pulled, you know, we were pulling through the front of it. We didn't even go through the Sally port. They pulled me right out. You know, they brought me in the main entrance, and boy, as soon as I looked at the front of that prison, there was 4 COs and a sergeant waiting for me out there, and it was nuts. All right, it was crazy. I knew it was on. As soon as we pulled up, the sergeant opened up the side van, you know, the side door to the van, and he grabbed me by my waist chains, and he got my face by about 2 inches from my face, and he's saying, you know where the fuck you're at, son? And I said, yes, sir. And meanwhile, there's another corrections officer behind me. He's getting all my property out in draft bags, you know what I mean? He's getting all my property out, and next thing I know, I get blasted from behind. You know, I remember seeing a white light, blasted me, and, you know, I was like, what the fuck? So they ended up, after I got blasted from the back, they grabbed me by my waist chain, dragged me out of the van, and when we got to the main entrance, the door slides open, and, you know, I walk in, they told me face the wall, do not come off the wall. All right, so that's exactly what I did, is I faced the wall, didn't come off the wall. You know, you're in a little black box, you got a waist chain on, you know, and when I was facing the wall, they told me to turn. But when I was supposed to turn, keep my face at the wall, I ended up turning my face off the wall, and they took the back of my head and just bashed it right into the, you know, to the cinder block wall. All right, and as soon as that connected, boy, my face leaked everywhere, instantly teared up. I couldn't see my nose, come to find out, busting up in 2 different places. They broke my nose right off the wall. And let me tell you, man, if you haven't ever broke your nose, this is the most painful thing in the world. And if you break it good enough, your eyes just instantly tear up. You can't see nothing, and your nose just leaks crazy like a faucet. So they ended up getting a state shirt. They're trying like, oh shit, you know, they kind of started panicking after that, because they knew I was fucked up. And they brought me into the room. They ended up bringing me down to the hall, got me cleaned up, and then they ended up bringing me to the nurse. Anytime you go to a new facility, you got to speak to the nurse, and they give you a quick check over, you know what I mean? And I was almost happy to see him, okay? I was like, fuck, thank God, you know what I'm saying? Guess what? He didn't give a flying fuck, because he asked me, he's like, you all right? You don't look too good. And I said, man, they broke my nose. I can't breathe out of it. It's like, it feels like my nose has a pulse of its own. It was just pulsating. You know, it was swelled up. My eyes were black and blue. And he's like, well, you seem fine to me. Get him out of here. That's exactly what he says. I'll never forget it. I was floored when he said that. I couldn't fucking believe it, that this nurse just said, get him out of here. So they ended up bringing me down to my cell. You know, it's a double bunk cell in the upstate box. There's actually 3 different levels. They threw me in there. I was hoping I had a bunkie, because the more if you have a bunkie, the less they're gonna fuck with you, okay? But guess what? I wasn't so lucky. They threw me in there, and as soon as they, threw me in the cell, you go to the back of the cell, and they tell you, once the door shuts, you back up, and you got to stick your hands out the slot to uncuff you. And before the CO left, right, you know what he says? Doesn't he tell me, he's like, I'll see you in about a couple hours before I head home. And I'm like, fuck, they're coming back for more. Because, you know, when you fuck with the boys in blue up there, they're like a little gang of their own, man. They're gonna fuck with you. They can lose you in the system. It's no fucking joke, all right? Mind you, when I tell you that, youngsters, so you going upstate, man, these motherfuckers have no sympathy for you. They treat you like trash. So for the next couple of hours, I'm thinking they're coming back. And I've already got it made up in my mind. When they come in, I'm fucking going off, all right? I'm just gonna give them all I have. I'm taking out kneecaps. I'm putting elbows to throats. I'm doing whatever I had to do, you know, to survive. This is like survival mode. I already got assault on staff. All right, so I have nothing to lose. I maxed out anyway. You know, in 3 fucking years, it is what it is. I already had my mind made up. So nothing ended up happening though. They never came back, but they just kept fucking with me. It was a nightmare for the first week in that box. They were deading me on fucking showers, shaving, all that shit. So mind you, I ended up getting they kept postponing my ticket hearing, all right, for these tickets. And they wanted to do that because they wanted me to heal up, right? So I had black eyes, my nose was swelled up. So about 10 days that I was in this facility, I ended up getting a letter from my mother, forwarded it to me from the last facility. And she was like, you know, why haven't I heard from you? Because I usually call every day or whatever it was, every other day. Why haven't I heard from you? You all right? And I was like, what the fuck do they mean? She hasn't gotten my letters? You know what I mean? Because I would have got a letter by now. You know, so now I realize they ain't sending my mail out because I dropped the letter the second day I was in the box. And definitely I would have had a letter because it only takes 2 days to get there, and she would have already responded back. And sure enough, they weren't sending out my mail because they didn't get none of my letters, my sisters, nothing. They didn't get nothing. So my mother ended up driving the 6 hours up there, okay? 6 hours up there, come to find out. And they said I refused my visit. They said I wasn't going to come to my visit. I refused my visit. And I never refused any visit, let alone for my mother at this time. I would never refuse my visit. So they did that because I was still fucked up, black and blues, all this other, trying to keep me away from my family until I was healed from everybody. So they did me dirty there. They did me real dirty. So I ended up going, to my ticket hearing after 2.5 weeks being there. And I ended up going into the ticket hearing. The lieutenant there, he was a fair guy. And I explained everything. You know, I broke everything down to him. Why am I going to come off a wall and put my hands on this officer? He just, I broke down everything that happened, the truth. I explained to him about the rec civilian that was supposed to take me off the schedule. And, he obviously checked into all that and found out the truth. And I'm like, listen, does that sound right to you that I'd come off a wall and put my hands on a corrections officer? For what reason? I had no contraband and I was going home. I have no violence, I have one fight at this time on my, criminal history, or my history in prison. That's it. One fight, and that was self-defense. That was nothing. And, he's seen that. He's seen it was all bullshit, and he knows the CO that did this was an asshole. He know he was. So, he pretty much told me I have to have you, plead out to refusing a direct order, and then, you do another 10, 15 days here and we'll get you out of here. So that's what happened, people. That's the story. The shit was crazy. And I've never experienced anything like that in my life, okay? Just being handcuffed and just 5, 6 COs, jumping the shit out of you, putting the boots to you. And karma's a real motherfucker. Guess what? Later on, because after I left the box, okay, I ended up going to Clinton. Because regardless if I beat the tickets or not, my classification went up. So that's when I went to Clinton. You guys probably seen the previous videos where I did time with those inmates. Those inmates escaped. It was national news. It's a max. I was there for almost a year. And I ended up going there. And it was crazy. And when I was there, I ended up getting, the paper. It's not too far. It's the same hub. Come to find out, they had a little article in there that this corrections officer that did all this to me, in a hunting accident, he ended up blowing off his leg, shooting his leg. He ended up having to get his foot amputated. So karma is real, and I couldn't believe that happened. I actually saved that article for the longest time, because karma's real, man. It was a hunting accident, and that dude shot his foot off, that CO, that caused all this for me at this time. So I thought I'd share this story with you. I hope you guys liked it. So if you did, please hit that like button. It'll help my channel, help it grow. Also, please subscribe if you haven't. I'll have more content coming your way. And you guys know how I end this video. If you already haven't, please subscribe and hit that like button. Also say free, safe, and corona free. See ya.